Imagine you're sailing in the middle of the vast, unforgiving sea when suddenly your ship sends out a distress signal, a frantic cry for help that doesn't make sense. And then, when rescuers reach the ship, all they find is death and horror. No explanation, just a chilling, abandoned vessel floating aimlessly in the water. What happened on board the SS Ourang Medan remains one of the most terrifying maritime mysteries in history. In the early 1940s, the SS Ourang Medan, a Dutch cargo ship, was traveling through the Strait of Malacca between Indonesia and Malaysia. On board, there were a crew of sailors who had no idea that their final voyage would lead to an encounter with something horrifying. It started with a distress signal. The message sent out by the Ourang Medan was chillingly brief. All officers, including the captain, are dead, lying in the chart room and on the bridge, possibly whole crew dead. The message was followed by a garbled cry, "I die." Then silence. The distress call was picked up by nearby ships, including the SS Silver Star, which immediately diverted its course to locate the Ourang Medan. What the crew found when they boarded the abandoned ship was beyond comprehension. The first thing they noticed was the smell, an overpowering stench of death that hung in the air like an omen. As they stepped aboard, they saw the bodies of the crew sprawled across the deck and in the corridors. But it wasn't just the sheer number of dead bodies that was disturbing, it was the way they died. The crew members were frozen in terror. Their faces were contorted into expressions of horror, their eyes wide open, frozen in a moment of sheer panic. Some were found with their arms outstretched as if they were reaching for something. Others were lying in strange positions, their limbs twisted in unnatural ways. But the most chilling detail was their eyes, empty, lifeless, staring into nothing. The bodies were stiff, but there was no sign of struggle. There was no blood, no sign of violence. It was as if the crew had died in an instant, as though something had paralyzed them with sheer terror. But the horror didn't end there. As the rescuers ventured further into the ship, they discovered the captain and officers in the same condition, frozen in terror, their bodies untouched by injury. Yet strangely, there were no signs of external trauma, no wounds, nothing that could explain their deaths. The ship's radio equipment was still functional, but it was as if the crew had been struck down without any warning. The rescuers tried to tow the ship to port, but before they could, disaster struck again. The Ourang Medan suddenly caught fire, and despite all efforts to put out the flames, the fire spread uncontrollably. The ship exploded, disintegrating into the sea, leaving nothing but wreckage behind. To this day, the exact cause of the tragedy remains a mystery. Some theories suggest that the crew may have encountered toxic gas from a hazardous chemical cargo, causing them to hallucinate and die in terror. Others believe that the ship was the victim of some supernatural force, an entity that caused the crew to die in such a horrifying, unexplained manner. Some even speculate that the Ourang Medan had come into contact with something far more sinister, a cursed cargo or a force from the depths of the ocean that took the lives of the crew as a warning. Whatever happened on that ship, it remains one of the most eerie and unsettling maritime mysteries in history. What do you think? Was the SS Ourang Medan a victim of some natural disaster, or did something far darker cause its crew's demise? Could there have been a malevolent force aboard, or was it simply a deadly accident? Let us know in the comments. What would you have done if you were the one who found the bodies on board the ship? Don't forget to subscribe for more scary, mysterious, and haunting stories.